A whistleblower is raising questions about President Trump's contacts with foreign leaders, and Rudy Giuliani may have confirmed what it's all about. We're going to watch that story, but today our focus is on another crisis. Greta Thunberg says unite behind the science. Democrats unearth buried climate change studies. And getting paid for going green. I'm Jamal Simmons. Today is the global climate strike, and this is why you should care. If you need a reason to ditch school or work today, beside it being a Friday, here's one for you. It's the global climate strike. Today marks what promises to be one of the biggest environmental protests in history. Swedish teen activist Greta Thunberg is leading kids and adults from over 150 countries in the strike to pressure their governments and businesses for more aggressive action on climate change, with the main strike happening in New York City. This just ahead of the Climate Action Summit, when countries will gather at the United Nations on September 23rd in efforts to ramp up their game plan on climate action. Thunberg is becoming one of the most influential voices for climate activism, inspiring thousands, young and old, to join Fridays for the Future, a movement that calls participants to strike every Friday to demand climate action from the powers that be. She's even been making rounds on Capitol Hill for the last few days. Here's what she had to say to Congress about the climate crisis.
I am submitting this report as my testimony because I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to the scientists. And I want you to unite behind the science. And then I want you to take real action.
She even met with President Obama. And here's why you should care. The timing for this strike is key. Like we mentioned earlier, the global climate strike comes just ahead of the UN Climate Action Summit set later this month. The summit aims to ramp up global efforts to curb carbon emissions worldwide and to add on the Paris Agreement, which the U.S. pulled out of after President Trump took office. And there's a second global strike planned after the UN summit on September 27th. The purpose of the timing is to put pressure on decision makers to ensure they take serious action on the climate crisis. And the pressure might already be working. Just yesterday, Jeff Bezos, he pledged Amazon would become carbon neutral by 2040. This after Amazon workers joined the climate strike movement and called on Bezos to make a change. We'll see if other global leaders follow suit. The Trump administration is censoring references to climate change in government reports, according to Senate Democrats. The senators investigated the Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Homeland Security, and the Interior Departments, among others. Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow also publicly released a report with more than 1,400 studies the Ag Department researchers released, but didn't promote or publicize. This after a Politico report exposed the USDA for burying the research. Politico's been all over this. They did a deep dive on the Ag Department research suppression in a July investigation. Here's why you should care. The standard government practice had been to focus attention on the impacts of climate change found in this peer-reviewed research. One of the main findings was that rice loses its vitamin content in a carbon-rich environment. That's huge, the report says, because 600 million people around the world depend on rice as a daily staple of their diet. Other research focuses on the impact on milk and wheat. Stabenow is the ranking Democrat on the Senate Ag Committee, and though Michigan is mostly known for cars, the state has over 47,000 farms, and the food and agriculture industry contributes over $100 billion to the state's economy. The Agriculture Department contested the Senate report, stating that all research could be found on publicly available websites. As millions of people gather across the globe in a strike to combat climate change, some are cashing in on it. We've seen the devastation storms leave in their wake. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, Hurricane Harvey left an estimated $125 billion bill after sweeping through Houston, Texas in 2017. That same year, Hurricanes Maria, which pummeled Puerto Rico, and Irma, which hit Florida, cost $90 and $50 billion respectively. That's a lot of money lost for real people, not to mention the emotional toll of having to rebuild. But as scientists continue to warn us of unpredictable weather patterns due to warming climates, some industries, like those in clean energy and people, are actually finding ways to make money rather than lose it. Investments on solar panels and wind turbines are on the uptick. Agricultural engineers have opened the window on manipulating crops that withstand droughts. And with diseases like malaria spreading with the help of warmer temperatures, pharmaceutical companies are cashing in too. Now, why you should care? Climate change is happening. But through all the debates around the climate crisis, society is learning to adapt in a way that could not only have a positive impact on global markets, but could also benefit the planet. More solar panels and wind turbines mean more clean energy instead of fossil fuels. Growing trends on sustainable fabrics and materials for clothing, containers, and straws, and strategic urban planning all contribute to decreased carbon emissions and funneling money through the market, stimulating the economy. So while we're already feeling the negative impacts of climate change, it doesn't mean we're entirely SOL. Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos. And head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.